Republican Representative Scott Perry has been not subpoenaed by the January 6th Select Committee, but they did put in a request for, one, him to come and speak to the committee and talk about his involvement trying to get the DOJ to overturn the 2020 election. And of course, they want the rest of his communications. They want more text messages. They want emails. They want everything he has related to those specific events. And they sent that request to him on Monday. Well, yesterday, Mr. Perry decided to let the committee know that not only is he not going to comply with their requests, but that he feels they're a wholly illegitimate body and have no authority over him whatsoever. Here's what he says. I stand with immense respect for our Constitution, the rule of law, and the Americans I represent who know that this entity is illegitimate and not duly constituted under the rules of the U.S. House of Representatives. I decline this entity's request and will continue to fight the failures of the radical left who desperately seek distraction from their abject failures of crushing inflation, a humiliating surrender in Afghanistan, and the horrendous crisis they created at our border. The Democrats created that? No, I don't think they created any of those situations that you're discussing here. But of course, I see you're trying to deflect away from the real issue, which is that you're probably going to end up subpoenaed. You're going to defy the subpoena. And then, of course, you're probably going to get held in contempt. But Mr. Perry is also wrong on the authority of the U.S. House of Representatives to create these investigatory bodies. The very first investigatory committee established by the U.S. House of Representatives was in 1795. Okay? So we're talking well over 200 years ago is when they started doing this. And of course, that was when George Washington was president. He had some things he didn't want to release to the committee, and that's where executive privilege sprang up. And the rest is history. However, throughout the United States history, we have had Congress putting together these kind of committees to perform investigations. They've been given subpoena power. The courts, including the U.S. Supreme Court, have upheld this power of Congress, even though it isn't explicitly mentioned in the U.S. Constitution. The power has effectively been granted to them by the court system. So you're wrong. They are allowed to do this. It is completely constitutional, and you're going to be forced to comply. It's clear that these people have something to hide. You don't fight these subpoenas, you don't fight the committee if you've got nothing to hide. And we already know that Mr. Perry has something to hide. Because thanks to the text messages released last week, we know that to some degree at least, he was lobbying members of the United States Department of Justice to help him and other Republican members of Congress overthrow the 2020 election. Okay, that's not speculation. We have the receipts on that. And those aren't the receipts from Mr. Perry, and that's why it's imperative that we get his information as well. Especially, you would think if this guy wants to clear his name, he'd be able to turn over his documents and say, hey, look, no, totally out of context, because you got to read the other ones, not just the ones to Meadows. But he can't do that because it's not going to exonerate him. If anything, it's going to just further implicate him in the entire scheme. And of course, this all comes back to my main point. Time for a special prosecutor. If the House of Representatives itself is starting to go after members of the House itself, you could easily argue conflict of interest. Not necessarily successfully with the committee, but certainly with the public. So Merrick Garland, appoint a special prosecutor, or else those Democrats are going to be hit with some pretty serious allegations of, conflicts of interest by these Republicans that they're now targeting. Take it off of their shoulders, put it under the DOJ, and go at these bastards as hard as you can.